Okay. Hi Vishnu. Thank you for being here. Uh, so I'm just gonna kind of dive right in. From my research and of course from knowing you, what I know is that you started an improv group while in college and you made money as a student. You created an amazing music video, uh, and you're the youngest student in your master's program, right? Are
Yes,
all these things accurate?
yes, all of these are right. Yes.
Okay. And I want to talk specifically about your improv group journey and kind of how you made money as an undergrad student. Uh, do you just want to share your story of like what actually happened and maybe tell people more about Bisibile Boys?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much for having me. And so the improv group that you just mentioned is it's called the Bisbee Boys. Let's refer it to as the BBB for now, and I'll refer it same throughout this conversation.
Hmm.
So the BBB is essentially sort of a group, an entertainment improv group that three of us co-founded together, and three of us are the performers, the business heads, the finance heads, the event managers, the
Hmm.
brand managers, sort of end to end for the BBB. And how it came about is essentially the three of us were part of the same theater group from PES University in Bangalore,
Hmm.
and there was an improv competition in another college festival, and we went there, we performed,
Hmm.
and we won the first place there. And then again we went to a different university, then performed there, again won the first place. And then this kept happening where we used to win either the first place or the second place most of the time. And then we also started to learn about improv on the side. There was another improv comedy group called ICB, which is Improv Comedy Bangalore, where we went to their workshops, spoke with the founders there, spoke with the improvisers there, and sort of learned the craft. And then realized that we have this young voice that is reaching really well to the college audience, where we could understand the pulse of the college crowd and really cater to that demographic really well. So we wanted to tap into that and see what could come out of it. So essentially, the Bispera Boys was just a pilot or just a pro trial of to say, okay, let's see what we can do. And then in true sort of ad hoc format, we just went about it where we did a photo shoot, put together a poster, booked a venue. Like these are things that we've never experienced before, but we just went with the flow and got things done. It was not that we learn about it. We just went in there, we went to a event space and got it all
Hmm.
booked. And we put together the first show.
Sure.
And in like 4 days, we sold out 120 tickets.
Okay, wait,
And
let's get to that part of the story.
yeah.
Uh, before that, so just a question, and I'm just following up. So you all didn't try to start BBB as like a business, nor did you even take like an active step to start BBB. It was just like, bro, there's a competition. Do you want to participate?
Yes. So the first part, like in the competitions, we were still part of PES University. We represented PES University. We were students, not professionals. We were part of the theater group
Mhm.
that from PES University. And then we wanted to do it more professionally, where it was not under a college fest. We wanted to see how we can do this more professionally. So that's where the Bisabella Boys started. Till then, we were still PS University, three dudes from PS University.
I see. And then you already kind of started talking about your story of like, trying to build a show and like actually, sell some tickets. And how did that start? Like, what was it more of like a business kind of thing that you all were trying to do? Like, were you saying, can we do this full time? Or was it more of like, let's just try this and see what happens?
I definitely think it was the latter where we wanted to professionally do this. And by professionally, I mean put up a show, put up a full 1 hour show. The stand up was very prominent at that time
Mhm.
in late 2019 in India, even before then, but late 2019. And then we wanted to put up a 60-minute, 60 to 75-minute show where the three of us would perform. And it's not that it's I'm a designer by training and professional profession, so I know that a product, which is essentially the show, which is the boundary object, cannot be a standalone thing. There needs to be something around it. Sort of an ecosystem needs to be created around it to say, okay, what to give it context, to give it sort of meaning, give it value.
Mhm.
So that's where the whole Bisabella Boys came about. We were like, okay, let's start a Instagram page. Let's really go to a venue, pay the rent for that venue, and calculate how much tickets, how many tickets we need to sell at what cost to make back the money, and sort of things like this. These were the conversations that we were having, and uh, and initial investment for that, I'm sure that would have been a follow-up. The initial investment was essentially all the cash prizes that we had won as a team participating in college competitions.
I
So
see.
so all these college competitions used to have maybe first place was like 5,000 in one place,
Mhm.
10,000 or 3,000. So whatever money we had left after all the
Mhm.
spending on partying,
Yeah, yeah.
we put it in the show.
I see. And are you comfortable sharing numbers like how much you spent for the show, how much a ticket was, and what happened at the end? Like how much you guys make?
Yes, for sure. So, first show was called Parcel Number One,
Mhm.
which is sort of an extension of the Bisabella Boys,
Mhm.
inspired by Bisabella Bath,
Yeah.
and Parcel Number One because, like, from taking inspiration from the restaurants of Bangalore to
Mhm.
say, okay, parcel is a very common Bangalore thing to do. So, how
Mhm.
can we put that together? And it was the first show, so Parcel Number One. And that
Mhm.
was the show, and the whole show had the experience of going to a quick service restaurant in Bangalore where you stand and eat your meals. Sort of the ticket was designed like a receipt, the promotions were all like that. Coming to the exact costs, if I remember correctly, the event venue
Mhm.
and printing was the only initial cost that we had to put in. So
Sure.
the event venue cost us for one night, for one show, cost us 3,500 rupees.
Okay.
Um, and this was Vyoma in JP Nagar.
Uh-huh.
They've been a great partner to us later
Mhm.
on as well.
Mhm.
And uh, the printing cost another 500 rupees. So 4,000 rupees totally.
Uh-huh.
And uh, we didn't know that we could actually sell 120 tickets.
Mhm.
So we sort of the pricing was thought through from the audience perspective. We
Uh-huh.
knew the college crowd was the most prominent crowd, so we wanted to price it for college students. So
Mhm.
technically us, like what would we pay to go watch us? And so we had early bird tickets, which was 100 rupees, and then the general ticket, which was 150 rupees. So overall, I don't remember exactly how many of each we sold, but overall, we sold 120 tickets and we made back, I think, uh, a profit of 12,500 rupees. So that was the overall money. And to track back a little bit and talk about the ticketing, we
Uh-huh.
also had to put it up on Book My Show, which is the ticketing platform,
Sure.
where, again, no clue how that would be. And
Sure.
we're not part of a production company, we're not part of a media house, we're
Yeah.
just three dudes.
Yeah.
And just reached out to Book My Show to say, hey, we are doing this, how to do this. And they
Mm.
just sent us a link. And they were like, okay, we need a blank check
Sure.
uh, for your account. We need all of this. And it was just a personal account that the money went to.
And
So
and a follow-on question of these 120 like folks who kind of bought tickets, how many were people that like you knew or were your friends, and how many were like other people?
that's the thing, right? Like the first show is always the easiest show to sell. Uh, and simply because everybody is rooting for you to win.
Mm.
Uh, and it was three of us, all of us we were in second year, third year of
Mm.
college.
Mm.
So everybody had like a good group of friends, friends
Mm.
of friends, family. So uh, I feel like if you, that 120 people,
Yeah.
uh, one of us at least knew of them at
Mm.
least. Even though if it was not a direct friend, it was a friend of a friend of a friend or something.
Ah,
Sort. So
I see.
completely random audience started only from the second show.
And we'll get into that. But I find one of your comment you made very interesting, which is the first show is the easiest to sell. I'm not in the like show space, but I would think the opposite. Like that would be my natural intuition. Like the first show is the hardest. I haven't built anything yet, and things will get easier from the second show.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to hear kind of your insight.
Yeah, because I personally think this is true for a lot of things where you're putting out something for the first time
Mhm.
simply because there is backing from all the people that you know. Um, so saying, oh yeah, go for it. That's really interesting. I'll support it. I'll support it. But that sort of support always fizzles out, even if they're the closest of friends or family, simply because they root for you, but it's also too much to ask of them to keep rooting for you and being the only audience. After the first show, it's on you and your skill to take it forward.
I see. Interesting. And I think another kind of question I have is like, in Indian culture, it's kind of challenging to, or it feels awkward to ask our friends or family to pay, right, for stuff. So how did that kind of work out? Was there something you're more comfortable with, or is that, you're just like, this has to be done?
Um, so the written rule, I think if I look up on the BBB Google Docs,
Hmm.
go scroll 6 years down.
Yeah.
I think I'll find the document where we had written ground rules, and in bold was uh, Vishnu's parents, 2 tickets free. Vaishak's parents, 2 tickets free.
Hmm.
Avinash's parents, two
Yeah.
tickets free.
Yeah.
No other free tickets. Full
Mhm.
stop. So that was the agreement that we had. And then Avinash's parents couldn't come for the show because they were traveling at that time. So those 2 free tickets went to Vaishak's family. Other than that, there was no free tickets. It was only 6 free tickets.
I
When
see.
my uncle, my cousins had come, they all paid for the tickets.
Yes. I mean, that's pretty, uh, for lack of better words, impressive, right? I would think, like, for me personally, I would struggle with that. But, that's a skill you have to build, and you have to go out and actually sell stuff if you want to build a business, right? Uh, let's talk about the second show. And what was the motivation for the second show? Is it just let's continue to do this? Or was there ever at any point a motivation of like, let's see if we can build this into like a business or something we do full time?
I think the second show was definitely much more thought of than the first show,
Hmm.
simply because we saw the success that we had, not just in terms of pre-show, but during the show, post-show, and sort of the love that we got
Yeah.
uh, around it, that we wanted to live up to that second show thing, and we knew that it was going to be difficult. The reason that we already had some insight into how show business works is because we were all doing theater, professional theater, and we've been experienced in how show business technically works, so we had some backing beforehand. And the second show we wanted to slightly expand as well,
Mhm.
where we had a bigger and more nicer auditorium. It was on MG Road, Mahatma Gandhi Road in Bangalore. And then we also went to Chennai to perform the same show, like immediately the next day. Like I think first show was November 8th, 2019. Second show was December 26th, 2019, and December 27th, 2019. And for the Chennai show, what we did was partner with the events production company in Chennai that was also sort of student-led college students who I knew through a mutual friend.
Mhm.
So we reached out to them and they were our event production partner. So they set up the venue, they set up the ticketing, they set up the stay for us, the food for us. So sort of it was almost like a collaboration. And we had a ticket split between the two. So that's how we went about it. And we were much more thought of there. And we definitely wanted to put it together as a business overall. Yeah.
And you're talking about your second show, was that in Chennai?
No, the second show theme was Bachelors of Improv, which was sort of a college themed again, where everything was branded around it. The ticket was like an ID card,
Uh-huh.
and show scenes and show theme was also around college.
Uh-huh.
So first show was so the second tour, almost mini tour. So that was in Bangalore and Chennai. We performed the same show in Bangalore and then went to Chennai and performed it. Yeah.
But wait, so how many times did you all perform like on stage where you were like asking people to pay for tickets?
So since it was started in 2019 November, on stage pay for tickets is lower. I don't have an exact number, but any if the three of us used to perform outside of the PES university context, and even within the PES university context, actually, scratch
Yeah.
that, was always paid. So I think we've performed maybe 60, 50 shows, maybe 50, 60 shows overall, both
Wow.
in person and online.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah, that's a lot. I in my head it was like 3 to 5 shows.
No, no, both in person and online, 50, 60 shows, maybe I would say. And all of them were paid. And even we had like paid, meaning it was not 500 rupee tickets or
Yeah.
600 rupee
Yeah.
tickets. It was some remuneration was always expected. We
Wow.
never did free shows. Um,
Wow.
yeah.
And that's quite impressive. I was already impressed coming into this call, definitely more impressed now. And I think another thing that I was curious about is how did you start getting your first like non-connected audience members?
I think word of mouth really helped because of how the college network in Bangalore is, which you know about of how things spread easily. I
Mhm.
think that was what was very helpful. That
Mhm.
immediately it became prominent that hey, that group that you came and won in our college have started on their own and have created this thing called the Bisbee Boys where they perform in these shows. Let's go check them out. So, and then we knew these small event companies and production companies that we reached out to. So we sort of our network kept growing. So we had more people coming in. But that doesn't mean that it was easy. Like I said, the first show got sold out in 3 days, 120 tickets. The second show took us 15 days to sell out
Mhm.
the same 110 tickets, 120 tickets
Sure.
uh, for the Bangalore show. The Chennai show took like a month to sell out. So that's why that's almost double, triple, quadruple times harder to do the second and third shows.
That's interesting. I mean, I think it's still pretty impressive to have your show sell out at with any number of days. I think the benchmark of 3 days was set a little high, maybe at the start. Uh, uh, I'm also curious, like, how did you go about like forming these connections with like event companies or even finding your venue? Was it just like picking up the phone and calling, or did you like leverage your network, or like what happened?
Uh, I think I would go even more sort of non-technological. It was just us on our two-wheelers driving to these places and talking to the managers
Mhm.
and sort of building that face-to-face relationship. We knew we were very good at that,
Uh-huh.
where instead of writing emails, like there's a lot of times that you can get dismissed, but like going to that place and being like, hey, and like we knew the language, we knew Kannada, so we used to go and speak with these managers in Kannada and sort of negotiate with the rent. And even if the rent was high, we would be like, okay, let's negotiate on the ticket cut. Like, let us keep 100% of the ticket sales than giving you 50% of the ticket sales. So it was more about in-person relations up until COVID. After that, it was Zoom meetings where we used to meet. There was no emails. Very rarely we dealt with emails. It was always face-to-face talking.
With respect to face talking, I want to go a little bit more granular to kind of maybe pull some practical insights and for me to learn myself as well.
Mhm.
Did you, from what I understood, you just like literally hop on your scooter and just like show up at that place? Like, can we talk to your manager? Was that what was happening?
Yes. So the first show, which was in Vyoma, yeah, that's what we did. We just showed up. We knew what their working hours were, so we just showed up, and we were like, "Hey, we are the Better Boys. We want to do this. This is what we can do." And usually, like places are nice, people are nice. They will help you out, and if you approach them nicely, and something that I learned, like which I feel like I was already practicing, but somebody put it into words, was always be a good client. Like you always hear about stories about bad clients,
Mm.
but try to be a good client to the person that is giving you the service. So I think that's something that we always practiced. And that was the same for all the event production companies or venues where we used to approach them either through Instagram or email, and then the conversation and the confirmation always happened face to face. And then there was, of course, the written confirmation, but the negotiation and the talking and the getting to know each other was always face to face. Yeah.
Got it. And even, I guess one more follow-up question to your first kind of connection at Vienna,
Yeah.
uh,
Vyoma. Yeah.
Vioma, sorry. So when you showed up there, like, was there someone at the door that you had to talk to and say, "Can we talk to the manager?" Or were you lucky to just meet the manager, or like,
They
who was
were a
it?
small team as well. They were definitely a small team. So there was like we went in, there were like four people in the office, and we just generally announced ourselves. And then one person was like, "Okay, I'll help you out. Come here,
Yeah.
sit with
What's
me."
up?
And like we just spoke with them. And the second show was in Rangasthala, which is part of government of Karnataka's sort of infrastructure. That was a much more sort of hesitant interview where we went in and they were like, "Hey, who are you?" Then we told them like, "Okay, okay, we'll help you out," and they helped us out to put it together. Yeah.
Got it. And for any of these shows, were there any ever pushbacks, or was it typically like, yeah, okay, all good, like let's move forward?
Uh, there was no pushback. There was a lot of negotiation about like money and like ticket sales and like rent and things like that. But there was never pushback of saying, no, we will not allow you to perform here simply because the first show, that's why we were strategic about it, right? The first show was in a very small place. It's not a well-known place, it's a new place as well. So they wanted people to come in as well. So it was a win-win situation.
I
Whereas
see.
the second show, we were able to show the videos and sort of say, hey, this is what we did in the first show. Can you
Sure,
give us your much more prestigious venue for us?
sure.
Yeah.
Got it. And another question I had, uh, sorry, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving back at the end of the day, like I guess at the end of college, you all decided that you don't want to pursue this full time and you want to move on to like other things. What was the reason for this? Was it a financial decision, like, hey, this won't work out financially if you do this full time work as college students, or was it some other reason?
Uh, Again, the Whisper Boys is a creation of three of us, me, Vaishak, Avinash. I don't want to speak for both of them.
Mhm,
I can speak personally about what was the decision point.
mhm.
I think, I think again, I don't want to put it on COVID. I think COVID was when it was not the
I,
time.
I, I think as a college founder, and I've gone through this myself. I mean, when you're in college, it's different, and you're thinking about like, what do I want to do after college, right? And people have
Yes,
different things they want to do, right? But
yes.
and I think maybe that's kind of where you all were at as well. But a different question I have, unless you want to continue talking about that.
No, I think the decision was very clear pre-COVID, where I think even like 5 days before the first 21-day lockdown hit, we were in conversations with BITS Hyderabad uh, uh, College Fest, where they had invited us to come perform as the comedy night, which all college fests have,
Mhm.
at BITS Hyderabad. They were going to pay us a huge amount. On top of that, also sort of pay for the travel and stay, and everything was like one step away from getting solidified. And we were literally one email away from saying, yes, we confirm. And then COVID happened. And at that point, that 5 days before COVID, I think the three of us were in alignment that we knew that if once we get that Bits Hyderabad show, we are going to be doing a lot more shows. We had a show in the pipeline, all crafted, all direct, all like sort of the creative direction was done. We had the posters for it, we had the photo shoot for it. We were ready to put together a larger show that we eventually put together later on. But we had that already. And I feel like at that point, we were all wanting to do this full time. But then I think COVID hit, and then things all sort of changed and mindsets changed and things fizzled out a bit. Yeah.
And I guess a follow-on question, I'm just curious, would you think how you think of this? If it wasn't for the pandemic, and if you all had decided that we want to work on this full time, do you think you would be able to financially survive on this full time straight out of college? And I think we can define maybe financially survive full time is maybe you're making 50,000 rupees a month or 1 lakh a month for each of you, which I know is a little bigger number. Maybe you're not hoping for that much, but sometimes that's the opportunity cost you have as a graduate.
I think we were on that pathway for sure. And the numbers you said, I think, were right. That was sort of the projected numbers that we were hoping to get, and that these were numbers that were in conversation with, like, not just doing improv, but also sort of emceeing and sort of signing up with the artist management company and so on. So I think that was definitely on the cards where we could have done this full time and we could have been financially stable with it. Yeah.
Got it. Uh,
And a funny story that
mhm,
literally, I think 3 months ago, yeah, I think 3 or 4 months ago, uh, yeah, December. So
mhm.
December, I got a call. Apparently, I got a call on my Indian number, which is still part of the BBB
Sure.
Instagram. I got a call from to my Indian number from a company, a very big multinational company that has offices in Bangalore, to come perform for the BBB, to come perform for their Christmas show.
Mhm.
So Christmas event that they had. So, and of course, with corporate shows, there's always a lot of money, and there were conversations around that pre-COVID as well. So yeah.
I see. I mean that's interesting. And maybe I don't know if the decision has been made, but maybe you all take it up, right? Uh, the other kind of question I have is from your experience of, having come close to building a successful, I would say, events or performance kind of business. I would think, if you can build one, you can build the other. I would think they're kind of similar. Uh, I'm curious if there's and having all the knowledge you now have and having gone through that experience, if someone's now a second year college student or a third year college student and they're hoping to kind of like build that stuff out, what would you like recommend them to do, or any 1, 2, 3 pointers?
um, I think thinking if it's a events or you're performing at your, or if you want to produce events as well, we've tried to do that too. I think of the second gig than the first gig is going to be the number one sort of insight that I can give for sure, because uh, sort of thinking about the second one is always going to be helpful, because then you can, because your first one, like I said, is going to be a hit no matter what, your friends, your family, your connections, and especially in college, 110% your first gig will be a hit. Think about the second gig. That's my number one sort of insight that I can give. And also, I think this is very general, but have no expectations uh, going in. Like, don't go in saying, I want to make X amount of money. I want to sell X number of tickets. I want to put this up on YouTube, and I want to have X number of views. So don't go in with sort of expectations. Go in and do big for the sake of doing it, because at the age of 18 you have so much time, so like just
Just
have
try.
fun with it and like just go for it, don't overthink it, would be the
For sure.
second thing that I would say. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you two more quick questions because we are running out of time on this
Yeah.
Zoom meeting call or Zoom plan, I guess.
Yeah.
The other question, or this is kind of a leading question, and to be fair, it's a little biased because I know kind of what happened with your story beyond BBB.
Yeah.
But I'm of the general belief that if someone tries to pursue an entrepreneurial venture in college, they will end up being more successful than the other situation where they do not, just because they develop a lot of skills. And whether that venture works out or not, the people will want to hire them or people will want to work with them, etc. And that's why I also mentioned the other part of your kind of professional background where you were the youngest admit to your master's program in the US. And I'm curious, do you think BBB played any role in that, or do you think like no, like this is actually disconnected? Maybe it has nothing to do with BBB.
Yeah. I don't know if I've shared the story with you, and that's why you made the connect and asked me this question. But I feel like there's 101% connect
Okay.
to the two of them, simply because I'd applied to four different universities here,
Mhm.
and the university that I ended up going to, um, reached one of the professors reached out to me even before I got the admit from the university, like 20 days before I got the admit, saying, "Hey, Vishnu, I saw your application and saw your application about where you've written about the Bisibilla Boys, and I tagged the YouTube channel and Instagram page as well." And he said, "I watched all your videos. These were extremely funny. Uh, um, the video, the Love You Dosa video was very interesting. I'm a huge fan of Indian food." And also he had said, "P.S. I'm an improviser too."
Okay.
And he had sent it out, and then 20 days later I got the admit, and I went to the university as well. And I met with the professor. He taught me a course as well, and he told me, he was like, that played a huge part in why we wanted you, simply because we've never had someone who has such less experience into our program. You're the first person, but we know that you have like other skills that you can sort of bring in other than sort of having work experience or having design experience, and which was very helpful, where I was good at storytelling. I was good with like performatively telling stories, performatively putting together presentations, and bringing play to design, which is a huge part. And my teammates wanted to work with me, and sort of the professors also enjoyed that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And no, I did not know the story, or I had no idea. I
Okay.
think again, it comes from my general hypothesis that people who try to pursue entrepreneurial pursuits will end up with better opportunities in the long run, whether they see success or not, just because like people value that, right? And you end up learning certain things doing that is almost impossible to learn in any other fashion, right? The one last question I have is who supported you on your journey and what resources did you have to find support on your journey? And I'm also curious, were there any resources that you found at your university, PES, that helped you?
I think the biggest resource that PES gave us was audience, which is what we needed.
Mhm.
I think just we were we all sort of became pseudo famous in
Yeah.
PES, I guess, like because people used to follow us on Instagram. We performed in the PES College Fest in front
Mhm.
of like 1,200 people, and like so, and we kept emceeing for events at PES. So I think PES was definitely a resource of building the audience. And in terms of support, I think all like the closest of friends definitely were big resources in terms of either giving design feedback or like even performance feedback and so on. So it was definitely a sort of a collective journey. And in terms of parents, I think number one, since we didn't, the initial money was not sort of money from our parents, it was just money from all the prize that
Yeah.
we had won. That was okay, but still there needs to be parent support because we used to rehearse um, late nights. We used to perform in late night shows. We used to go for open mics in late night. So I think that was definitely sort of that was definitely great support from all our parents as well. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, those are all the questions I had today, also limited by time. I feel like I could continue having this conversation just because it's so interesting. And I think I really enjoy founder stories and understanding how like people started stuff or why they started things or kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Uh, so thank you for your time. Vishnu. And
Thank
do you
you
have
for
any,
yeah.
yeah, do you have any questions for me? Uh,
No, I wish you well on this journey of talking to founders and putting it up on YouTube. I hope you find what you want to achieve with this sort of journey and pathway forward as well.
yeah, thank you, Vishnu. Okay,
Thank you.
see you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.